Well, let's get on to my weekly segment of the Utah as and talk about them. But I'm gonna start out with a win. What the heck is this? We won another game. All right, we
Yes,
got to at
sir.
least. It seems like win one game a week, so we have one win to talk about on the podcast. It was a really good game, actually. The Jazz beat the Mavericks 115 to 113 for their first home win of the season. And welcome back to another edition of the NBA Roundup. I am your host, JayCubz, joined as always by Feisty. And we got a lot to get into from this past week in the NBA. Let's start with some news. So, more news on the All Star game. We talked about it, I think, last time when they were trying to look at new things to make it more interesting.
Right.
Well, it says they're proposing a 4-team tournament style All Star game. So I guess that would just mean what, 5 players ish a team, I think. Do what, 20 players make it to the All-Star game, I guess. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I didn't see any more like specific details. I don't think they've come out yet, but I don't know. What do you think on that?
I mean, I think that would keep it a little bit more interesting and maybe more competitive, and it would
Hmm.
give people an opportunity to more all stars, I guess, in a way. But
Yeah, like more playing time, like
yeah,
for each guy, I guess.
yeah, because it's so competitive to get some playing time. Everybody kind of just either gets garbage minutes or it's just really hard. You have to get your superstars out there because that's what people paid the bucks to see, and so, I think it's gonna be interesting until we get the final like the rules and all that stuff. I think it's gonna be hard to make a like whether we like it or not type of answer, but I'm interested.
Yeah,
I'm
I think
intrigued.
I feel the same way. Like, got to try something, right? That's what I was saying last time. So hopefully it'll be a little more interesting. We'll have to see what more details they come out with as we get closer. But moving
Yeah.
on to some bigger news, some news I'm excited to hear is that Inside the NBA is going to continue. It's official. They are moving to ESPN. They're going to be licensed through ESPN, but TNT is still going to produce the show. So I think that was a big thing. We heard Charles come out about it and said that he wasn't going to work for anybody else than TNT.
Yeah.
And so they pretty much are what that means. They're licensed through that. So they're just going to air on ESPN, but TNT has full like creative rights and they're producing it, all the same people like that. So, way to keep it going, keep it on the air. And yeah, and I guess what they're going to do, it's not going to be like a weekly show like it has been for them. They're just going to do mostly bigger events. But
Okay.
and speaking of, they're going to be on the NBA Finals for the very first time. I think this year they're going to be able to do that. So
That's awesome.
I'm really excited to see that because I've always said that like the ESPN people are just not as good
Garbage.
in the NBA.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be
Exactly.
really excited to see them around the NBA Finals.
Yeah, and I've said it before too. I think that they're booty cheeks, like those guys, Stephen A. and all those other guys that were doing it just are terrible, dude. They didn't even know what they were talking about. I felt like, even though they're analysts and they're really good at their job, sometimes it's just certain sports they're just kind of not the best at it. And it's good to see that the TNT crew is going to be able to stick together. I think we all kind of mentioned how we wanted that, and we kind of feared if they were going to break apart. So I'm really excited for that. And if TNT can keep the crew together and keep the same production crew, hey, I'm all for it, man. Kenny, go ahead and run onto that board, baby. It's
Yes,
gonna be
sir.
interesting.
Yeah, I'm really happy that they're staying together. They're going to stay on the air, and yeah, they get to do it the way they want to do it. So that's awesome. Let's get into some game action. So let's start with the Western Conference, and let's first talk about probably the biggest game of the week. It was Clay's return to the Bay,
Mm,
and it didn't go well for him. Although he did play well, he dropped 22 on 6 of 12 shooting from three, but his old running mate Steph Curry just went off and almost looked like it was personal to him. I'm not really
yep.
sure why. I feel like they have a good relationship, but I don't know if you saw how excited he was. But I mean, what, this is like game like 15 or so of the NBA season,
Yeah,
and dude
he
was
just
like,
has a
"This is my house. This is my shit," and like screaming. I was like, "All right." And hey, man, and Curry can do whatever the hell he wants, though. So, yeah, he dropped 37 points and ended the game on a 10-0 run by himself. So yeah, it was really cool to see. Really good game, and it was really cool. The Warriors, they gave Clay his flowers as he came back. Did the tribute video and everything, but then also everybody had a
Something to say
captain's
about
hat.
after. Well,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you saw it in that same video, they were all like, "Yeah, we're super excited, brother. You're a legend. You're amazing, but we're gonna kick your ass. But you're like a guy we respect so much. But hey, we're gonna beat your A today. Hey, it was just so funny. Like all of them were kind of poking at it a little bit, so that was kind of interesting to see. And then, like you said, the captain thing was really cool. How many of the audience had his captain hat? And I
Yeah.
mean, this was probably the game of the year so far. Like it's just how close
Hmm.
it was, and it's gonna continue to get better because these two teams are still like gonna be on top of their conferences, and then they're gonna be continuing to battle out, especially if it's like 4 against 5.
Hmm.
Oh, well, imagine having a 7 game series for that. And so, surprisingly, the Warriors are back to where they used to be and playing
Yeah,
really
man.
well. Steph is like balling out. Draymond Green hasn't kicked anybody in the balls or in the face yet. Stupid donkey. So I mean, they seem to be clicking in all cylinders, and the Mavs are doing the same thing. The I said this at the beginning when they were going to add on to this edition. It's going to be huge for them. So we're going to continue to see this game, and I think it was funny. I think that Steph did kind of take it a little bit personal just to
Yeah.
show he's still that guy. Especially him yelling, "This is my house," like all that extra stuff. You never really see Clay do that unless it's against LeBron and the Lakers or LeBron and his team. And so
Or in the finals
it,
or playoffs,
yeah,
bigger games. Yeah.
in the moment,
Usually
it
Steph
just
kind of
comes come
cruises
out.
through the regular season
Yep,
for sure.
hundred
But
percent.
yeah, man, I think, yeah. And with it being that more emotional, because these early NBA games, a lot of times, we'll get into it later, but all the injuries, the rest and stuff that happens, and it's such a long season, like we talked about,
Yeah,
they might not like mean as much. But that one you could tell. And so there's a lot more excitement, a lot more eyeballs on it. So it was a really fun game.
yeah.
Let's move along. Let's get into some Spurs action. So we do have an update on Greg Popovich. What happened to sideline him was he suffered a mild stroke, but he is expected to make a full recovery and get back to the sideline. So that's good to hear. There's no timetable on it yet. Obviously, just probably waiting, make sure everything's clear and he's good to go and he feels ready. So glad to hear some good news and hope that he makes a full recovery and has a speedy recovery as well.
No, 100%. He's one, if not the greatest, one of the greatest coaches of all time, and you hate to see that, especially what he continues to do for this young alien and Mr. CP3 coming back to life all of a sudden. So, I mean, they're gonna continue to ball out. He's gonna be missed, but when he comes back, especially where it's 100% healthy again, they're gonna continue to do what they're doing, and they're like I said, they're a young team minus CP3, but
Yeah.
guy's old.
Well, some news on CP3. Speaking of, definitely not young because he became just the third player ever in NBA history to reach 12,000 assists,
Wow.
just behind obviously John Stockton and Jason Kidd. So awesome to see for him. He's been, I think he's like him and Darren Williams are the first point guards I remember watching, growing up. So he's
Yeah.
definitely been around, been in it. So good to see for him. And then also his running mate, like you talked about, the alien Victor Wembanyama, he had a record-setting performance of his own. He
Insane.
scored 50 points with
Yeah.
8 threes, becoming the youngest center to ever reach 50 in NBA history, obviously. And I mean, and he can score in different ways than most centers, obviously, so it makes it easier. But still crazy. Like you said, he's an alien. So awesome to see for him. Some news that is not awesome. I heard we were talking about this pre-show. You heard back nerve that's been keeping him out. I
Has
heard right
something
knee
with his back
contusion
nerve.
as well.
Yeah.
So it looks like he might be dealing with a couple injuries there.
Yeah, I mean, when you're so freaking lengthy like he is, it's bound to happen. Something is gonna happen, and so it seems like now he's dealing with those. And not that anything like against what he's done or anything. It happens. It's a long NBA season, and you got to keep your body in shape. You got to go hit the gym. You got to go hit all these different like yogas, like all like the foods that they put into their bodies. These are crazy. Like it says, like LeBron, obviously the king, the goat, Daddy Bron. He spends about I think $1 million in just on his body over
Mhm.
in the off season, and so I think that it's just so important to take care of your body because there's a lot of injuries going around, and we want to see when BM as like his best because
Yeah.
he's a freaking alien, and we want the best against the best, especially when he's blocking and shooting threes in front of yo boy Rudy Gobert.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, hopefully, I mean, I think putting on some weight for him, I don't know, because then you put on weight and you put more stress on the joints and stuff like that. But I feel like
Yeah,
he's just so skinny, susceptible to things right now. So yeah, definitely just gotta be in there, take care of yourself, and yeah, make sure he's staying healthy. So I think they're resting him, being careful with him, which everybody in the NBA is doing. So we'll have to see how that goes.
yeah.
But some more news. It was just kind of on that same night, so I just wanted to kind of talk about it because it was a crazy night. So yeah, Victor scored 50 that night. Cat went off for 46, and Giannis dropped 59, all in one night. So he kind of had a crazy explosion
Big man.
um, of of scoring there. So it was pretty cool to see. A good day. Some more news. Just a real quick. I'm wondering what's going on. Hopefully everything's okay. I kind of think that maybe this guy just, doesn't want to work and he's using his sick days up. But Nikola Jokic has been out a couple of games here. Just says due to personal reasons. So obviously, just a joke there. Hopefully everything's okay with him. But Jokic and how much he hates working and how much time he wants to spend with his horses. So. Oh
Yeah,
man. All right, let's move on to your daddy Braun. I know you couldn't even wait for me to bring him up. You had to bring him up, but I'll give him his flowers and just let you react, I guess. Became the third or the oldest player in history to record three straight triple doubles, passing himself in 2019. I'm sure you saw the three that he hit where he walked away before he went in, but he was still staring at it. So I mean, like if he was real confident, he probably would have turned
mm,
around,
not quite there
like some
yet.
other guys.
Yeah,
But no, he said in his post game too some news that he is not going to play till the wheels fall off, and he said maybe 1 to 2 more years. And before I let you get in on there, he did record his fourth straight triple double the game after that, and so extended that record there. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the King Daddy Braun getting those records at age 39, 40, 47, whatever he is,
whatever it
and then
is.
yeah, his comments about not playing till the wheels fall off.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of guessed it. I've said this before too that he's probably got 1 or 2 more years. He's probably got 1 year realistically, but I think he want to try. I don't. I think he wants to try until Bryce is there, to be honest, and to make that kind of like wow, he's playing with his two sons,
Is
like type
Bryce a
of thing.
junior?
I think he's a
He's not a
junior
senior
or a
yet, right?
senior. But it's gonna be interesting because then that's gonna put him at like 42, 43. And if he's able to do what he's doing this season, man, at 39 years old, he's gonna be turning 40 on December 30th. Obviously, I know his birthday.
You'll
But
have the numbers.
yeah, but it's just interesting the way he's been able to keep his body healthy. He's been able to produce, and he is being the playmaker for this team. They realize that Anthony Davis is their number one, and LeBron is just being the basically the playmaker and producer for them. So I love the way that they're playing. I think that they still got a lot to learn. I still think that they need to build their bench a little bit because it's just AD, LeBron, and then there's Kenneth is doing a little bit better
Yeah.
now. Russell is doing a little bit better, but it's gonna be and Austin Reeves is or yeah, he's been balling out a little bit. And so it's just one of those things that it's gonna continue to develop for them. And if LeBron keeps putting up the numbers he's putting up, hey man, rig that thing and let him get his fifth. We're only 1 or 2 more away, so the people talking. I'm okay with it. My Thunder can
Oh,
wait another couple years just so LeBron
okay.
get 2 more, baby. I'm willing to sacrifice for it.
There you go. Wow. What an honorable guy.
Too
What an
loyal.
honorable guy there. Before we finish on Lakers news, I did come out that Lakers are going to honor Pat Riley with a statue.
100%.
So, obviously, longtime Lakers coach legend now with the Miami Heat as an executive. So, good for him. And yeah, Lakers are going to run out of room, man, with all the statues that they gotta
Soon they're
build
gonna
out
put it
there.
on top of the the stadium, dude, and you can see it from
Just start stacking them up there.
it's gonna be all
All
around you.
righty. Well, let's get on to my weekly segment of the Utah as and talk about them. But I'm gonna start out with a win. What the heck is this? We won another game. All right, we got to at
Sir.
least. It seems like win one game a week, so we got to. So we have one win to talk about on the podcast. It was a really good game, actually. The Jazz beat the Mavericks 115 to 113 for their first home win of the season. So awesome to see there. I think that I saw, for your Cowboys, I saw this stat where it was like, there's this meme where it was, have you won a home game in 2024? And then it was like, yes, of course, it's November. And it was every MLB team, every NBA team, every NHL team, and every NFL team except for one, the Cowboys. I know
Nothing
this
can
is our
happen.
basketball segment, but I just couldn't resist. Couldn't resist.
I couldn't resist. Oh.
Anyways, I'll move along. No, it was a really good game. Irving didn't play in this game, so obviously that makes a huge difference. They probably win this game with Kyrie. But it was a really awesome game, back and forth. Jazz had a lead. Mavericks kind of brought it back. And talk about Luka Doncic and how much we love him here in Utah. Well, he was the reason that we did win. Dude is getting cooked on defense these days, man. He does not seem to be able to play good defense. And on this, he just falls asleep. John Collins just sneaks in for a wide open dunk. Clarkson, dude, his face lit up. He literally goes, "Oh my god," and passes him the ball, gets the game winning bucket. So that was awesome. Luka did take the blame for the loss. He said he was the guy that left him open and was like, obviously, but at least he did take the blame there. And then I wanted to talk about this. It's not Jazz news per se, but it was De'Aaron Fox the night before. He dropped
Yeah.
60 points in a
Woo.
loss to the Timberwolves. So dude went balled out, and then he comes back the next day, beats the Jazz 121 to 117 after dropping 49 points.
Isn't
So
the game that they lost, when what's his name? Julius Randle. Didn't he hit a buzzer beater three? I think that's the one where they
no, that was against the Suns that he hit
Oh, that
that.
was the game before a couple games ago. Yeah, yeah, my bad.
Yep.
That was nice too. Shout out to him, dude.
Oh yeah.
Showing that he's there for Timberwolves.
Yes, sir. I think that makes in our play of the week segment later on. So
Oh,
we'll
I
have to
got a
talk
little
it.
head start. My bad.
Yeah. And then one last thing. So James Harden, he actually passed Ray Allen for second all time in 3-pointers made in a win against Utah, 116-105. So we got the one win, lost a couple. Doing good. We need to keep on losing because we need that number
Imagine.
one pick. So a little standings update. Speaking of that, so we're at 3-10 now. And then New Orleans is right above us at 4-10. Couple Spurs and Trailblazers are at 6-8. But then on the top of the conference, we got a little bit of movement. Your Thunder have played 2 more games than the Warriors. They've won one more, lost one more. But they give Golden State the tiebreaker here. They are 10-2 at 1. 11-3 for the Thunder at 2. The Rockets off to a hot start at 10-4. Your Lakers and Daddy Braun at 9-4 at number 4. Phoenix Suns are 9-5 at 5. Nuggets at 6. Timberwolves at 7. Grizzlies at 8. And then you got the Kings and Mavericks barely at or above 500 at 9-10. So that's our update for the Western Conference.
And I know you guys want Cooper Flag, so he's 17 years old, right?
Is he still 17?
Yeah, he's 17 years old. Like his birthday's not until December 21st. Same thing with Bryce. But I'm wondering, how is he in college? You think he graduated
I think
early?
it's like whenever your birthday is, I think that like if you're a late bloomer, or maybe they graduate early to get into college and stuff. I'm pretty sure that you can do stuff like that. Like I know this is for our NASCAR people, but Kyle Busch did that when he was in high school. I think he graduated at 16 just because he wanted to move on to his racing career
Yeah, because
early. So
he
maybe he
doesn't
did
need.
something like that.
Yeah, it's weird because him and Bryce literally could go in. Like they'll be 19 when they make their debuts in the NBA. Because obviously they're probably gonna play 1 year and done, right?
Hmm.
But I thought that was interesting because they're gonna be I think Cooper goes this draft, and then Bryce is probably going to go to the next one because Bryce turns 18 this year as well, in June. So I mean, it's just going to be interesting the way that they're. I
Bryce is
think
a
that they should.
junior, is what I just looked up.
I thought he's 17 though.
It said 16 for him.
Hmm.
Oh wow, yeah. I don't know if you're doing enough of your keeping up on your daddy Braun and his sons,
Oh,
man.
he's
Are you
17,
falling
bro.
off a little?
He was born in June 14th, two
I
thousand
thought it
seven.
said 16. I don't know. Maybe I'm
Huh.
wrong.
Anyways, but that's just cool because then if Cooper goes one this year, and then next year, I think Bryce goes to college for 1 year as well, and then that gives LeBron the time to. I think that's why he said the two coming back on that, and then you're
Yeah.
back to the same drama again. Who picks up Bryce?
What do you
Dude,
allow? I don't know because
the
I think a lot
Jazz.
of people are thinking Bryce is going to be better than Bronny.
Yeah. Oh
Like he's a
yeah.
lot taller, right? And
6'6". Yeah.
yeah, plays a lot more like LeBron. So I
Yeah.
wonder if you can do that. But LeBron's got a lot of power. Rich Paul's got a lot of
Well, and
power.
they were
So
thinking about getting rid of that 1 year like rule where you have to go to college 1 year. They're kind
mhm.
of been in the stages for so long now. I think that LeBron's going to be having a big effect on it.
Yeah,
Imagine him having a stake when they get put a team in Vegas.
Vegas.
Him, his sons, and then whoever else wants to come want a ring with them. Anyways, so that's gonna be interesting on the West side. Let's get into the Eastern Conference. They got a few things, and why not start with my hot button, right,
Mhm.
Mister Cameroon French USA citizen Joel Embiid and PG, Paul George, back to back games management, whatever you want to call it. They're calling it injury management, but I call it load management. They're missing their Wednesday game due to the injury management, is what they're calling it. But this is getting out of control. I'm getting really sick of it, especially I have these two guys on my fantasy basketball, and let's just say it's not going well over there because I don't have those two on my team. And it's just so frustrating, man. This back to back injury, whatever you want to call it, like play the game, dude. You're getting
Yeah.
paid millions of dollars to play in a sport that you love, but you can't manage to keep your body healthy long enough for you to actually play back to back games like that don't make sense to me. I don't know your take on that, but that's like a big hot button for me right now where I'm like, dude, we need to get players playing back to back games. I know it's a long season. I agree that they should shorten it to 65 maybe. But so frustrating, man.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. I think that it's just a different time, obviously, but I think like Charles said it best, and I think I talked about it before, where um, like there's doctors, there's firefighters, policemen that go to work
Yeah.
every single day, and we play a game, and then also the point where people come to these games and it might be the only game they're able to make it to that year. And like a father and a son or a father and daughter or whoever that, want to come see their favorite player. And it could be Paul George, it could be Joel Embiid, and they don't play because of this injury management thing. And I get it, your health is the number one thing, but it's
Come
just getting
on.
so crazy,
Yeah.
like, and so overdrawn. Like, Braun doesn't miss games, and he's older than anybody. And like you said, it's because he puts in the time to make sure that he stays
His
healthy.
body's right. Yeah.
And not everybody's LeBron. I get that, but you are professional athletes. So if Braun can do it, you can at least try to do it a little bit better, and you don't
And
have
you're
to do it the
younger. You're
management way.
younger by 10 years
Oh
sometimes.
yeah,
So it's just so frustrating
15.
because
Like literally, you got
yeah.
20, what, and almost 20. Really, you got
Yeah.
19, 20 year olds in the NBA today.
Yeah, man, it's really frustrating, especially Joel Embiid. He's so well known for his back to back game management. I like we always gave LeBron shiz because he always never wanted to. Whenever we go get tickets for him to go watch against the Jazz, he would not play those games. But this
Hmm.
is like another extreme where these two have taken advantage of that. Another big one is Kawhi Leonard too. I know he has his issues, but it's getting to the point where it's just too much, man, and I'm getting really really frustrated. I'm at the point where I'm like I'm just gonna drop these two. I don't even care the value for them because they're just not gonna get you anything every other game. They're gonna be able to play. So But when you don't have your two-star players playing and you're playing against Donovan Mitchell, you tend to lose. So let's go ahead and talk about that a little bit too. Donovan Mitchell ends up dropping 11 straight points to basically put the 76ers to sleep and extend their winning streak to 13 and 0. And then the next game he pulls up with a 37, and they improve to 14 and 0. I mean, do you see them stopping? Because right after that, guess what they did?
Did they lose?
No, they didn't even have Donovan Mitchell, but it didn't even
Ooh.
matter because they end up improving to a 15 and 0 record. And he was out against Charlotte, obviously, but this is crazy news because now they have the hottest and second best start in the league history since that 70 whatever 72 and
73-9
73,
Warriors.
yeah, Warriors. So man, they are not slowing down regardless if they have Donovan Mitchell or not, man.
No, they are not, dude. What a start and what a way to freaking go, man. I mean, 15-0 is crazy. I know that the Warriors didn't win when the championship when they had the 73-9 season. So a lot of people were like, did they try too hard? Should they have rested a little bit more? But I love to see it. I love that, they're trying. And the thing is, they really got to try this out if they want to have like home court because Boston's, right there behind them.
Mhm.
And, it's not like you can just take some games off like other people who, I don't know, are 2-10 and using
Yeah.
injury management. I mean, that's a whole. I know it's just the first 12 games of the season, but sorry, just going back to the 76ers. I just saw that on their standings 2-10, and you're doing this like I mean, once you get to a certain point, you got to be like, all right, fuck it, we got to go. Like, we got
Yeah.
to start winning some games, and I would say 2-10 is that point. But good for the Cavaliers, man, and I love to see it. Love to root for Don, and yeah, let's see if they can keep this train rolling.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna continue to go, and that trend is definitely not stopping anytime. And speaking of the Celtics, Jason Tatum, he ends up hitting a big three for a buzzer beater to beat the Raptors in overtime. And then there's been so many I can't say the word, but like so
Controversies.
yeah, about refs and what they are calling. So later on, NBA came back and said he actually traveled on that same play. And there was also another issue with this too, because Giannis supposedly fouled. I forgot who they were playing against, but then they came back and said the refs came back and said he actually did not end up fouling them.
Oh yeah.
Uh, what is going on? Because that this seems like it's going to be a big issue this NBA young NBA season already. So are we going to be seeing more of this? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I love the 2-minute report, and I love like you call out these refs. That's what people do want to see, but to see this many mistakes this early is definitely not what you want to see. So,
yeah,
yeah, but good for the Celtics to get that win. I mean, I wish that the Raptors would have won that game because that's a team that the Jazz are competing with in that tank race. But it'll be interesting to see, man, and it sets up for a great game tomorrow. Celtics Cavs. We'll have to see who wins that game, and if the Cavs can stay unbeaten, it's definitely probably their toughest test of the season. So it'll be interesting to see.
yeah, I
And
mean,
then, yeah, like I said, let's finish out or let's get into your Eastern Conference standings before we get to our play of the week.
yeah. No, I think that it's going to be a big test for them, and I think for both teams, this is going to be the obviously the Cavaliers are 15 and 0, and at the number one spot, Boston's just right behind them at 11 and 3, and then after that, Eastern Conference is garbage anyway. So, but you have the Magic still throwing some magic around. They're in the third spot now at 8 and 6. The New York at 7 and 6. Detroit Pistons at 7-8 at the fifth spot. The Pacers at the sixth spot,
That's
and
crazy.
yeah, and now like the Pacers and the Atlanta Hawks are tied for basically sixth place. And then the Pistons and the Knicks are tied for basically fourth place. And then you have your bottom ones, obviously Miami 5 and 7 in the eighth spot. And then like you said, Raptors. Everybody knew that this is a rebuild season for them. They came out and said it. They're 2 and 12. You got 76ers at the 13th spot, moving up a little bit. Not really. Maybe if Joel Embiid and Paul George would start playing, maybe they would move up. But they're at the 13th spot at 2-10. Milwaukee finally putting in some work together, and they're moving up to that 12th spot, kind of creeping in a little bit at 4-9, not too far behind from the ninth spot. So it's gonna get, it's gonna get better. It's gonna the season is still, like I said before, young. Milwaukee's finally putting things together. Giannis looks like he's very motivated to get them back on track. They came out and actually said that they're committed to Giannis. They're not looking to trade him away at any point. So that's also good and that's a bonus. So Eastern Conference has always been like you have the top three teams and then everybody else is kind of booty chick. So seems like that's the trend, but we'll see what ends up happening with the rest of the season.
Definitely. All right. And then, yeah, so play of the week, you talked about it earlier. That step back three from Julius Randle was one of my favorites that I saw. Beat the Suns at the buzzer. It's good to see him kind of falling into a good role. And I think that might kind of work out better. Maybe not better, I should say, but just a little bit different than, compared to Cat. I mean, I think like Randall's a true power forward, where Carl Anthony Towns more of a center, and so that
Yeah.
kind of clears up the space there. And then we'll let Ant shine a little bit more, but still allow Randall to be productive, take the pressure off him as well. Maybe he can play a little more free. And then another one was Brandon Podziemski, I think is somewhat of how you say his name. I don't know if you saw this one. If not, you got to go check it out after we finish. But he threw a behind the back pass as he was like full speed running for it, falling out of bounds, and it ended up being an assist right to. I can't remember who it was. Another guy. It was mainly the pass, but it was a wide open layup for him. So that was another cool play to see. All right. Well, that will be it for the NBA Roundup. Check out the episodes dropping on Fridays on YouTube and Spotify, and check out the clips on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. Until next time, we'll catch you on the couch for another edition of the NBA Roundup. See ya.